Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This video is going to be about my personal experience hosting through Airbnb in Orlando, Florida. Before we dive in, I do want to give out a disclaimer. If you guys are thinking about doing something like this, do your research on your local laws because some states tend to be more strict than others. So yeah, also wait until the end. The pictures that I mentioned during the video, that's where I'll put them and I'll explain a little, like the situation a little bit. Other than that, like, subscribe, leave a comment maybe. Enjoy.
So Orlando, how did we even how did we start this? So first it was my idea because Orlando's really known for like their touristy things and stuff. And I was like, this would be a great spot for Airbnb. So I did some research before diving into all of this. And I did a lot of research. And it was like the percentages, the gains, and everything seemed to be. It sounded like everything was gonna be great. Like, yeah, we're gonna get this apartment, and everything's gonna be cool. We're gonna make money out of it, right? Because at that point, we were just recovering from some financial issues that we've had in the past. So we were just like, okay, we need something to bring in like some extra income, and this was gonna be it. Like, this was going to be it. So yeah, this was going to be it. And yeah, so we did some research on like what would be a good area in Orlando to do all of this, and also like a convenience for like us if we wanted to come down here. So we booked an Airbnb in this apartment building, and everything seemed great. Like, we never really liked Orlando, so we kind of like pushed it aside. But to be honest, I think that like if I were to do this again, I would do it in a place that I would enjoy coming frequently. But yeah, I would have done that differently, but we didn't. And anyway, we booked a place here, and we love the apartment. Like, I mean, even this apartment, I love it. It's beautiful, it's spacious, it has tons of light, floor to ceiling windows, a balcony. Like, what's there not to love? Besides the location. It was beautiful, we loved it. So anyway, yeah, so we did some research on like how to get an apartment here, and this really nice agent helped us. It was no fee or anything, so everything went like pretty smooth and easy. But as soon as we got the apartment and I got it furnished, and it took like about 2 weeks because of some shipping problems to furnish and completely and everything. However, as soon as we put it up, the first guest we had was great. He was like cool, everything went seamless, and it turned out to be like, I was really excited. I was like, wow, this was a great choice. It was a good idea to do it. All doubts went flying out of my head. However, as soon as he checked out, when he was checking out, he was telling me, hey, your dishwasher is leaking. And I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll let maintenance know once he leaves, because maintenance here they're actually really good. They'll come like the day of if possible, but they'll definitely be here by like the next day. So we called maintenance, they came, and no, I'm like, okay. So I was like, whatever, because I was gonna come back down anyway. So I wanted to see for myself. When I came back down, and I'll post some pictures, but when I came back down, there, like, this floor wasn't a dark espresso color. It was like a light color. I'll put some pictures up too. And because the dishwasher basically had thrown up, I want to say, like, it just threw up. And it smelled so bad. I landed late that time too, so like it just smelled so bad. The floor had absorbed all that liquid, so it was just really gross. Like, it was, I'm sorry, I can't keep my hair up. It was just like really, really gross. And but yeah, like it was terrible. So I let maintenance know it was an emergency. They came running, and again, like the guy, great maintenance guy. So they cleaned it up for me, and they were just like, okay, we're gonna need you to like leave because we need to replace the whole floor. And I was like, shit. So I had to take the apartment off of Airbnb for the time being, because it was supposed to take like 3 or 4 days. It ended up taking like 5 days, I want to say. And so they started when I left, which was like 2 days later. Smell wasn't too bad or anything, so it was definitely livable here for that time. But then I left, and thank goodness for my cousin. She's been a huge support during this adventure. And so she looked over the apartment to make sure that everything was, they left everything in good shape. So everything like turned out to be like a good thing, I guess, because I was just like, wow, it even looks like even more beautiful now, because I now have like these espresso dark wood floors. And so I loved it. So we put it back on Airbnb, and we got another booking. And that booking was a little bit stressful. They were just here for the weekend, so it was a short time, but they were new Airbnbers, and it's always one of my number one rules, because I have done Airbnb before for Ken's dad's place, but never, in my personal experience, I've never had a good experience with somebody who's new to Airbnb. Like, it's just never a good thing, in my experience. So these people were new. I broke my rule because, again, needed the money. So I let them in, and I always would always tell the guests, like, do not tell maintenance or like the doorman, the lobby, anyone in management, don't tell them that, oh, you're here for an Airbnb, you know? And I'm kind of whispering because I don't want my neighbors to hear, although I'm pretty sure they might know. I don't know. So I told them, just make sure that you don't mention Airbnb. Just you're here to visit a friend. Like, that's it. They don't question you. Okay, so the first thing that they do when they check in is, hey, I'm here for an Airbnb. And the apartment management calls Ken, and they're just like, hey, are you renting out your apartment? Like, somebody's just checked in saying that they're here for an Airbnb, and basically they just gave us this warning, like, don't do it, or else we're gonna call the police. And the police is like, they're very strict here in Florida. I want to say in Florida, but let's just stick to Orlando. They're very strict here in Orlando, so we're just like, okay, we're not gonna fuck with that anymore. So from that day on, from that guest on, every guest who requested to stay, I made sure to tell them, like, hey, I'm just double, triple checking, like, don't mention that you're here for an Airbnb thing, like, you know, reservation. And I didn't have any problems after that, with that situation at least. Okay, so then, like a month later, well, from then on, I always had like this anxiety, because until they checked in and I knew they checked in, I would always have like these like panic attacks, like, oh my god, are we gonna get caught? Are we gonna get caught? I don't want to get caught. And we didn't, but that lasted throughout this whole experience. So anyway, another thing, we never installed a smart lock in the beginning, because you're not supposed to change like the lock, obviously, right? So I was just like, I can't find a lock, like a smart lock that's discreet, right? And so we would just leave it open. Like, my cousin was in charge of like looking after the place, cleaning up when guests left and all of this stuff. But when she would leave, because you know, she had her own job as well, when she would leave the door open. and then the guests would come in and we would leave the keys in the lockbox in the closet, and we would give them the code and so on and so forth. And I knew it was risky, but I don't know, I just did it anyway. So while I looked for a solution. So in one of the instances, we had a guest come and they found a couple in the bed. Like the door was open and they found a couple like laying down on the bed. And they called me and they were just like, hey, there's somebody in your apartment. And the last booking before her was like the weekend before that. So I was just like, that's not possible. Like there was nobody like reserved like for you. And I kind of got paranoid, and so I had to tell my cousin to go and check on it. But in the meantime, we lost those guests because obviously they can't stay here. The apartment wasn't clean. This couple had used it, so you know they had to leave, and we lost the booking for that. So yeah, it turns out they broke in but they didn't break in. The door was wide open, like not wide open, but the door was unlocked. So it was kind of like I was asking for it, right? Like I don't want to say that, but you know, it's basically like it was my fault. So after that, we decided to stop bookings until we found a solution to the lock. And in one of those days, like during that time, I went on all the forums possible. I Googled so much, you guys have no clue. And they ended up finding the August smart lock. And the August smart lock, if your door lock is a deadbolt, you just take the back, which is like facing the inside of the apartment, take the back off and replace it with that, and you're good. Like you're really good. And what was I gonna say? Oh, I just froze, I'm so sorry. Anyway, so yeah, that was a solution for that. And it comes with like a thing, like some adapter thing that like you could unlock and lock remotely. So you could be anywhere in the world as long as you have service, not even Wi-Fi, as long as you have service and you have internet running in the apartment or your house or whatever. It's like a lifesaver. You could see who opens and closes the doors. If the door was left open, if the door was even left like wide open, it'll let you know. So it was a great investment. It was definitely worth its money. I think it was like $250 in total, but it was definitely worth it. So that was that. So we were like, okay, cool, nightmare over. But so many, like, it was not nightmare over. A lot of the times guests could be really nasty. Like, I'm not talking about like hygienic nasty, I mean like personality wise, it could be really gross and super needy, which fine, I get. I know I'm a host, I'm gonna host you as best as possible, but some of them were just like, your apartment's too empty, and it's like, but you saw the pictures. Like I made sure to emphasize that, like, you know, it was super super minimalistic. Like you have a bed, you have a couch, you have a balcony sofa, you have a table to eat in, and you have kitchen basics, you know, like pots and pans and stuff like that. But like you're not gonna have a blender. For some reason I didn't think to put a blender. Maybe like now I'm thinking maybe I should have, I don't know. But yeah, but so we didn't profit as much as possible. I didn't realize that I wasn't able to bring up the price of this apartment super high. One of the main reasons is that guests do not have right to park in this apartment complex. You only the person who's leased, that person's car is allowed to park here. So people who rented cars to stay here had a lot of issues because parking here, it maxes out at like $20 or $15, something like that. And hourly is $2, but if it's an event, I think it goes to like $45 for the whole night. And if you're gonna keep on leaving in and out, you're gonna be paying all that. So I need to make sure to like to even it out for them, right? Or else no one's gonna stay here. So that was a lot. So, and also again, this apartment, like even right now, the air conditioning isn't fully functioning. It's not fully working. It's staying at like 77 to 82 degrees depending on how hot it is outside. And at this point, I don't care. We're moving out next week, so I just don't care at this point. What else? Oh, the toilet stopped working at one point, and it, like, this apartment has, like, this specific unit has been such a headache, and I think it's even more of a headache because we're not here constantly. Which, again, like, these are expenses that are being taken out, like flights here get taken out of like the earnings from here. So yeah, it's been a very stressful journey, and we are very happy to get out of this. I love this apartment. It's huge, spacious, beautiful, everything. If I could take this apartment and move it back to New York with its rent price, I would be so happy. This apartment is this apartment is 1,010 square feet, and it's going for, well, we were paying $1,250 for it, which is amazing. So we did good on earnings. Like our net profit was like an extra couple hundred a month, but then we soon realized that it's just not worth it. It's not worth all of its hassles that it came with. So at the end of the day, would I do an Airbnb again? I think I would do an Airbnb again if it was closer to home. And I really have to like the location. I have to really want to go out there. The only reason, the only, I guess, like thing that I was happy to coming out here was, again, the space, but it was also because my cousins live here, so I get to see them. But I really love that part. I really love spending time with them, and because we were apart for so long. I think it's been like 10 years since before us doing this that I hadn't seen my cousins. So I really love that part about it, that I got to hang out with my cousins a lot more. So, and you know, just go out with them and, you know, just live as cousins. So, but besides that, I don't like the weather here. The people, some have been nice, and I know a lot of people say that New Yorkers are rude or nasty or mean or whatever, but I think everybody has their days, right? But to me, I love New York. I feel like the diversity in New York is just so grand. I love that it's such a mixing pot. All of the food that you could get there, there's always something to do. The fact that I don't have to rely on a car, I don't have to rely on Uber or Lyft unless like I want to. I don't have to, because our public transportation is just so amazing. And here I kind of feel stuck all the time, and I feel like I'm eating the same food because, yeah, like there's really not a lot as I'm used to. Here in this location in downtown, there are a lot of options. One of my favorites is actually Hamburger Mary's. I know I'm gonna miss their chicken tenders. They have really good burgers too. However, I'm not gonna, I wouldn't drive to them. Like if I lived far away, I wouldn't drive to it, you know? And in New York, I feel like I live in Brooklyn, and I would definitely go up to like the Upper East or Upper West Side for like one of, I don't know, for anything, right? Like, cause it's so different everywhere. And here it's just humid. Not to say that New York isn't humid. New York summers are terrible. I hate them. But it's worth staying because I just love New York. And maybe I'm biased, who knows? I was born and raised there, so who knows? But Orlando isn't my vibe. It's not my vibe. And I've traveled to a couple places, and I just never felt right in Orlando. And so yeah, so we're gonna be ending this journey. It was a good experience. I don't regret it at all. It was definitely a good learning experience. And but I don't think I'll be returning and investing again here. But yeah, so I'll be uploading a new video like giving a house tour on this, and so I would definitely watch out for that. I think you guys will really like it. And I don't know if you guys heard the drain out. That's another complaint that we would get a lot from our guests, was like, there's a drain like 6 feet away from the building. And I'm like, bruh, you legit measured how close the drain is to the building? I mean, it's good to know though. It is 6 feet actually. And but it's really loud, but it's only loud for a short time and for a couple times a day. But I get it, a lot of people are sensitive to noise and whatnot, and they don't really enjoy it. Being from the city and definitely living like on an avenue, I'm used to hearing police and ambulances and all these types of noises, so I sleep through it a lot. I actually miss it if it's too quiet. So yeah, but I get it. Some people aren't used to it or don't like it. So, but if you're, you know, in downtown anywhere, there's always, most likely, there's always going to be some sort of noise. So yeah, that was my experience. Watch out for my next video. Bye.
So this is what the floor looked like before the dishwasher blew up, or a lighter shade. This is all the backup that happened while we still had guests. And then this is the aftermath of the floors when they soaked up all the water. Like I said, they did remodel them, so it's all good. Thanks for watching.